Hey everybody, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com along with good old JM Jeff Meacham to discuss the greatest SummerSlam pay-per-views in WWE history. We have our collector's cups here. I have the Viper. Jeff has the Rated R Superstar Edge. What are you drinking in that cup?
Whatever you poured me. Diet something.
Diet Shasta?
Probably. Just for Gil, though.
Exactly.
Just for Gil.
Alright, so let's discuss the top SummerSlam pay-per-views.
If it's for Gil, it can't be for Gil because this is WWE stuff, so it can't be for Gil.
Well, it's going to have to be.
Okay, Gil, this is for you, buddy.
He's going to have to deal with it.
That's right. We'll do TNA SummerSlam. Oh, wait, there's no TNA SummerSlam pay-per-view. That's okay. Go ahead.
Alright, so maybe one of these days we'll do a top TNA Bound for Glory series.
So that'll be about a 5-minute show.
Oh! All right.
So, I said that out loud?
All right, let's move on here before we get ourselves in too much trouble with the TNA soldiers on NoDQForums.com. Cheap plug.
Cheap plug. Not there. That's
so
okay.
I'm going to do my top 5, and then you'll do your top 5, and then we'll combine to create a top 10 list, and I have some honorable mentions. I know you do as well.
I do as well, yes, sir.
All right. First off, I'm going to talk about what many people feel is the greatest SummerSlam pay-per-view in WWE history, and I agree with this. I feel that SummerSlam 2002 is the best SummerSlam pay-per-view that WWE has ever produced. Maybe the best pay-per-view WWE has ever produced, period. I mean, it's very much up there among the best WWE pay-per-views. 2002.
Spoiler alert, it's my number one, too.
All right, yeah, 2002, I mean, that card from top to bottom was about as strong as you could possibly get.
It was. I was writing down notes on the different matches from the different years. I got 6 different quality, almost main event caliber matches just from this year alone. You've got Flair, Jericho, Angle, Mysterio, Edge and Eddie, RVD, Benoit, oops, did the B word, Triple H, HBK, which you talk about all the time, and Brock and Rock. You know, those 6 matches alone could have carried an entire episode of Raw or an entire pay-per-view on their own. And then you had the rest of the undercard.
Yeah.
This pay-per-view was unbelievable.
Yeah, on paper it looks amazing.
On paper it looks ridiculous,
and then it completely delivered.
It did. It's one of the few that did post Attitude Era.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of just the quality of the card, you had that, and then the main events were very memorable. You had Shawn Michaels making his big comeback against Triple H.
Yep.
You had The Rock passing the torch to Brock Lesnar, and that began the Brock Lesnar era in WWE.
Yep.
Very historic show and just a great card. Lots of very strong wrestling matches on that pay-per-view.
And who would have thought those 4 guys would still be heavily involved in one way or another in 2015.
Exactly.
You got The Rock coming back here and there. You got Triple H just running the company now. You got Shawn Michaels who's doing he did the Australia tour in place of and you got Brock who has been the undisputed champion for the better part of the last year.
Right.
So you got those guys. You've got Rob Van Dam who still appears every now and again. You've got Edge who comes back. You've got Eddie Guerrero who unfortunately passed away, but he would still be involved if he was around. And you got Kurt Angle who at 13 years later is still, wrestling full-time. He's hurt right now, but, he's still wrestling full-time. You got Mysterio who's making the comeback. You got Ric Flair who's still involved. You got Jericho who's still involved. It's amazing that the quality of the people involved in this pay-per-view are still involved in some way or another to this day.
Yeah,
because they were so good.
Yeah, they had an amazing roster at that time.
Well, yeah, I remember it was the influx of WCW talent, the influx of ECW talent, and all the guys being signed from OVW and being called up, and like I said, that class 2002 from OVW, you had Brock, Orton, and Cena, and Batista. Those 4 guys were involved already, and they were going off into the future.
Yeah.
So, just a great show, but we're going on and on about this one show.
Next up, I want to talk about SummerSlam 1992 from Wembley Stadium. Okay. The biggest crowd ever to attend a SummerSlam event. And actually, I believe it has the legitimate largest attendance ever for a WWE show.
As far as legitimate, confirmed, because we don't have WrestleMania 3, we'll never really know.
Well, they say that's a worked number.
That's a worked number, but Wembley had legit like 88,000 people.
It had a legitimate over 80,000 people.
Yeah,
that was a real number. Tremendous crowd, the atmosphere, the only major WWE pay-per-view that aired in the United States that was in England.
In England, right.
They had the time delay. They really can't do that now with internet and spoilers and all that.
Nope. Well, actually, they could probably pull it off better now than they did back then because they could always just air it like it did in Tokyo. Air it live, and if you want to get up and watch it, get up and watch it. Tough shit.
Yeah, but are they really going to do that for SummerSlam? But regardless...
Well, not for one of the major four, no, but, one of the other ones.
But regardless, it was historic for that. And, a really fun card, with Bret Hart and the Bulldog main eventing. Bret Hart winning or losing the IC title, but, really getting over with the fans and getting over with the management, due to the performance in that match.
Yep. He carried Dave through the whole match, so he had to impress everybody.
Yeah, you had the Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage, which was actually in the mid-card.
Yeah, which was actually nowhere near as good as WrestleMania 7 match, but still, for what it wasn't bad.
Yeah. And
the whole story was Flair and everybody else working on Savage's knee, softening him up for the future Flair Savage rematch.
Yeah, you had a fun undercard too. You had
one of my favorites in the undercard was Shawn Michaels and Rick Martel.
Yeah,
where they couldn't hit each other in the face.
And Sherry,
because Sherry was freaking out.
Yeah, that was entertaining. And LOD and Money Inc. LOD coming out with the dummies.
Yeah, LOD on
dummy.
The dummy. Well, if you count themselves as dummies, because Hawk was drunk off his ass riding the motorcycle down the aisle. Against Money Inc., you had the Natural Disasters against the Beverlys. It actually was a solid undercard for 1992.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad show.
Yeah. And next up, I have SummerSlam 2000. Really solid show. The classic TLC ladder match with the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian. One of the all-time great ladder matches, TLC matches, I should say.
Yeah. The first.
You had the triple threat. You had the triple threat match with Triple H versus Kurt Angle and The Rock. That was an awesome match. Although Kurt Angle
spent most of it with a concussion.
Yeah, that table, the thing with the table.
That botched pedigree. Oh man, that was and it's a testament to Kurt. For all you TNA guys, I will forever sing the praises of Kurt Angle for this match because he was still new, not even a year into the full-time professional wrestling business, and he went through the entire sequence of events completely concussed out of his mind. And still pulled off a great story.
And he kept going.
And he kept going. And he got carried in the back. That was part of the show anyway.
Yeah.
He's supposed to get carried in the back anyway. That was the whole point of the pedigree. And then he came back out there and did the finish, which was amazing. Because he was just, he was way out of it.
Yeah.
And he still pulled it off. Kurt Angle was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, much like, in 92 when Bret pulled off that performance, I think that convinced Vince McMahon to go with him as the guy. I think when Angle went out there and finished the match, I think that really impressed Vince. And sure enough, 2 months later, Kurt Angle wins the WWE title.
I mean, think about it. When was Kurt Angle back out of the main event after that? He wasn't until like the summer of next year.
You could say that.
And even then, he was SummerSlam against Austin.
That made him earn Vince McMahon's respect.
I had to have. It earned my respect as a fan. Are you kidding me?
I think everyone realized Kurt Angle was a real deal when he was able to come back out there and finish that match.
Yep. He had a really solid 2 out of 3 falls match with Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho on that card. You had the crazy hardcore match between Steve Blackman and Shane McMahon.
Shane taking that
bump off the Tron. Oh my God. Shane McMahon did not need to do shit like that, okay? He was made. He had money coming. He already had money made as it was. He was set for life, and he's still taking bumps like that. He's nuts.
He has balls the size of grapefruits.
He does. Ball, as Dominic Tucci would say, ball this big. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, so next up, I want to mention SummerSlam 2013, a recent SummerSlam. I was there in person. I was thinking about all the LA SummerSlams, and 2013, in my opinion, was the best SummerSlam based off of the 2 big matches on the show. The undercard was decent. It wasn't great or anything. But the 2 main event matches, Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, I thought was excellent.
Yes.
One of the best matches in recent WWE history. Possibly Brock Lesnar's best match since coming back. One of CM Punk's best matches. And then the main event, you had John Cena versus Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan winning the WWE title, beating John Cena clean. Not many people beat John Cena, we all know that. So to be able to do that...
Nobody beats Mr... Oh, wait, sorry, wrong guy.
Yeah, so for somebody to be able to beat John Cena clean, I mean, that says a lot. Bryan wins the title, and then the big shocker with Triple H turning on Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton coming out, cashing in Money in the Bank, and then it's the beginning, it's the birth of the Authority.
Yeah, I'll never forget, because you were across the street inside the building. I was at Hooters, because I didn't have the ticket for that year, and I'm watching on the internet, and I'm watching Bryan celebrate, and Orton music hits, and I'm probably like people are going like, no, don't do it. Let him have the title. And then Triple H hit him from behind.
But it was...
I flipped. I was like, shit.
Yeah, it was very eventful, and the people were going nuts for it. It was a lot of fun.
It was one of those things where, again, they were probably going with Bryan anyway to be the main event guy because he feuded with Orton throughout the rest of the year in 2014. But that effort with Cena really solidified him as he's the next guy.
Cena's elbow was messed up.
Yeah, Cena hurt his elbow going into the match. And then he came back, what was it, 2 months later, won the world title again?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I was there the next night at Raw. Cena's elbow was huge.
It was huge. Well, you should see it on TV. I mean, they showed it on a big screen on title, I'm sure, but like it was like this big.
Yeah, I know.
It was like this. It was like, almost bad as his nose. Almost.
Yeah, so
his nose is worse.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that SummerSlam a lot.
That was a great SummerSlam.
That was the first SummerSlam I went to where when it was over, I was like, this show was totally worth going.
Yeah, he came across. He's like, oh my god, did you see it? I'm like, yeah, I saw.
Yeah,
it was great.
And last one I want to mention here is SummerSlam '98, the Highway to Hell from Madison Square Garden. Just being in MSG, the incredible vibes that you had being in the world's most famous arena. You had the main event, Steve Austin versus The Undertaker, this storyline that had been building up for several months. Kane and The Undertaker in cahoots, but Undertaker refused to have Kane help him. He wanted to go one-on-one with Austin.
Wanted to prove he could do it, and he did.
But he failed. Austin beat him. You know, he had some cool spots. Undertaker doing the big leg drop through the table on Austin. This match was a lot of fun. You know, it was all about the star power. And then you had Triple H versus The Rock in the ladder match. The match that I felt really defined the careers of both guys.
Absolutely.
Both guys came out of that match as bigger superstars than they were going in.
And I mean, think about it. A year later, they were in the World Championship match.
Exactly.
You know,
so I mean,
they were going to the world title matches with each other.
Yeah, that was really the match that transitioned them from the upper mid card to the main event.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of other solid matches on the show.
He had the Lions Den match, which was very interesting, between Owen Hart and Ken Shamrock. You had Edge and Sable, Edge's pay-per-view debut against Mark Merrow and Jacqueline. You had Kane and Mankind lose the tag titles to the Outlaws because Kane basically turned on Mankind and hit him with the sledgehammer or whatever it was in the middle of the dumpster or whatever the hell it was. God, it's so long, I can't remember. But it was one of those matches where, one of those shows where you had a decent 1-2 match and then you had a solid main event, a solid undercard as.
And of course the classic line, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would chuck wood?
That's right. I was on that show, really?
Yes, it was.
I'll have to watch that because I'm watching the shows in order on the network right now, so I'll have to watch SummerSlam on the 30th when it comes out.
I'm amazed I actually said that without screwing it up.
So am I. That's impressive.
All right, so you want to go ahead? What are your top 5?
Well, I've got 2002 and 98 and 92 on mine.
Right.
And 2000.
Right.
The one you didn't mention that I have was my number 5, and that's 2008. I thought for a modern pay-per-view, this was actually really good. You had Undertaker Edge in the Hell in a Cell match. You had Cena Batista, which was better than people projected to be.
Yeah, it was.
Cena Batista, it's like, oh god, these two, but they're boring. They both suck. We're sick of both of them. And they delivered.
Yeah,
they both really did. And the top title match was not Triple H because he had to face the Great Khali, poor bastard. The top title match was Punk JBL for the world title. JBL, who people have criticized that he can't really deliver a solid match. That's bullshit because he did. And he has in the past. He had a great match with CM Punk in an era where even Punk is described really, I was never really champion. He was the better champion that night than Triple H was WWE champion. And that's a bold statement to make, and I probably get in trouble for that, but oh well, I don't care.
Don't get in trouble for me.
Not from you. I'm just saying for people out there watching. Me criticizing people over people. Like you. Yeah, it was a solid show. It wasn't the best, but it's my number 5. But I had 2002 at number 1, number 2 98, number 3 92, and number 4 2000.
Okay.
Those are my top 4. So we had the similar top 5 again, like we did with the other one.
All right, so let's talk about some honorable mentions. Okay. I want to mention one that I watched when I was a kid, SummerSlam '91.
Yep.
One of my favorites as a kid, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, the IC title match. A match that really got Bret Hart's singles career going.
Yep. And
he was on his way to becoming a main eventer.
Yes, sir.
I really enjoyed a lot of the matches on the show. I mean, LOD won the tag team titles. That was
fun. The Nasties, yeah. The no DQ, no countout match.
The Mountie versus the Boss Man in the Jailhouse match. And the skits with the Mountie going to jail.
That was so... You know what? I had the Coliseum video up until recently. It finally wore out on me. It's so old. but just watching back and forth and how much dialogue they got away with on 10-1, you couldn't pull that stuff off now. There's no way, especially the end segment of that, you can pull it off now. There's no way. People would be too offended.
Yeah. Virgil winning the $1 million belt.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, Virgil.
So there you go, Virgil. Your big moment. We just mentioned it here on the video.
Good job, Virgil. You still suck though. Hogan Warrior against Slaughter and Company was the
Warriors
the official wrestling main event. Literally Warriors last match. He went out of the ring and got fired.
Yeah.
Like, bye.
Yeah, and the match made in heaven.
The match made in heaven, the wedding. Oh God, you know what? It was hokey.
The downside is that the pay-per-view just ended with that. It should have ended with the reception.
Yeah, which is funny. It's on the Coliseum home video release, the VHS release. It's on the DVD.
Yeah.
On the DVD anthology that I had, I sold it now, but 91 did not feature the reception.
Yeah.
So I got to go out to Franklin's to get the bootleg or something.
Yeah, they should have ended it with that. That would have been a great way to end the pay-per-view.
Because what a story. I mean, to have a snake come out of the gift box and attack Elizabeth with her laughing. He goes, God, Liz, come on, you're better than this. And then Jake and Undertaker both attacking Savage, and Sid Justice coming to the save of all people. It's like, come on, really, Sid?
Yeah.
You dork.
All right, so you want to mention a few honorable mentions?
You mentioned 91. I'll mention 94.
94.
The Undertaker versus Undertaker battle, Brett versus Owen, a decent undercard underneath it. I think 94 was more about the story than about the in-ring stuff, but it was still great. It's good stuff.
I liked Tatanka and Luger.
Yeah,
that was a good story.
That was a swerve when they weren't doing swerves. Yeah. It was like, what, Tatanka? What, you joined the $1 million team? It was terrible. 97 also, Bret Undertaker, Austin Owen, the cage match between Mankind and Triple H, that Mankind morphed into Dude Love at the end.
Yeah.
That was, again, it's one of those hokey type things, but it was still fun to watch. Austin Owen, of course, was very memorable to this day, forever, because of Austin's career being shortened as a result of it. And the main event was memorable in the fact that it sent Michaels and Undertaker down one path toward the main event of the next two shows, and Bret, unfortunately, as WWF champion, got kind of pushed back and was facing the Patriot.
Yeah, but that whole storyline with Shawn being the referee, that was a great match.
It was a great story, and it solidified Shawn's heel turn again when they didn't know what to do with Shawn Michaels at the time, so they were trying to see where he go babyface or heel, and he ended up turning heel, and it led to the formation of DX.
Yeah, and I have 97 on here too.
Okay.
All right, so you got any more?
No, I got 3. I'm good.
Okay. I want to mention 2005, which I really enjoyed that pay-per-view. I thought it was a really solid show. You had Hogan and Michaels as the main event, with Michaels selling like crazy.
Like crazy,
yep. Doing the overselling for Hogan. Right there.
Yeah, right there, brother. That's right.
You had Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio in the ladder match with the contract on the line. I enjoyed that storyline.
Those two, you did, really?
Yeah.
I had, maybe because I'm a dad now, but I look back and I go, oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it's goofy, but I thought it was fun. Eddie, I didn't like the idea of Eddie being a heel when he was so over with fans, but he did such a good job that I thoroughly enjoyed that storyline.
And he so easily transitioned back to the babyface at the very end of his life.
Yeah, he did, which I'm glad that happened.
I am too. It was good to see him come out with Low Rider and do the whole Viva La Rasta music and not that dark, sinister shit he came out with.
But he did a really good job with it, though.
He did.
I will say that.
He did. The match itself was awesome. The storyline was like...
Well, I liked it. I liked it. And I want to mention Chris Jericho and John Cena, which was one of John Cena's first big matches as WWE champion.
Right.
And the crowd, I think that was the first time they were doing like the dual chants, like "Let's go Jericho, let's go Cena."
I think so. Yeah. Jericho mentioned in his second book that the crowd was already turning on Cena. And this is only like 4 months in.
Yeah.
To the title reign.
Yeah,
it was like
WrestleMania.
They should have seen it then. And that was 10 years ago,
yeah, they were
folks.
already starting to turn on Cena in that match.
Well, it's the thing. It's the same thing like with Hogan, like with anybody. They'll cheer for you till you get the belt. Once you get the belt, you can do nothing right.
Right.
So, or title, excuse me, not belt. Whoops, I said belt. Ooh, sorry, Vince.
Oops. And last pay-per-view I wanted to mention here is 1999, the out-of-body experience.
Ah, yes. With
Jesse Ventura as the
yes.
referee for the triple threat. Triple H.
Triple H and
Austin and Mankind.
Foley, yeah.
And Mankind won the title only to lose it the next night to Triple H.
That was done to get the belt off Austin to make sure there was a solid win for Triple H there. And more people saw the win for Triple H next night anyway, so it worked out for him.
Yeah, but it was awesome to see Jesse Ventura back in the WWE again after having a lot of legal issues with the company.
Yep.
Have him come out in Minneapolis and say he was proud to be a wrestler. And
but what's funny is I go back and watch some of the DVDs now compared to when I watch on the network. It depends which DVD you catch. Some DVDs, they edit out his commentary.
Oh, really?
Because they can't, like some of the older ones.
Yeah.
But like some of the stuff on the network is all uncensored. You can hear Jesse. So there's still a lot of litigation between the two sides.
Yeah, and a
I
solid.
was good to see him that night.
Yeah, solid undercard. You know, Shane McMahon versus Test, a match that actually got Test really over as a babyface, but
for about 3 months.
Yeah, until they just gave up on him after the whole Stephanie Triple H wedding angle.
Yep.
So yeah, I enjoyed SummerSlam '99. It was also Chris Jericho's first pay-per-view appearance in WWE.
Yeah, didn't he do a promo with?
Yeah, he was doing commentary.
That's right.
Shamrock's match.
Oh God, yeah.
Making fun of calling him Ken's Scamrock.
Yeah, God.
Summer Sham.
He was so good.
Yeah.
He was so good. I miss Jericho on a full-time basis.
Yeah, so that was a fun show during the Attitude Era. I thought that SummerSlam.
Yep.
All right, so that'll wrap it up, and you can put together basically a top 10 right there. 12, 13.
Yeah, there's plenty to choose from again. So it's just a matter of what do you guys think? Let us know what you think. Leave a comment here on the comment board. Go on nodqforums.com if you dare, and leave a comment there for us, and just give us some feedback. What were your guys' favorite SummerSlams?
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know what you think, and stay tuned to nodq.com for SummerSlam coverage, as well as the latest news and rumors in the world of wrestling. Thanks for watching.